Hey, architecture firm owners and emerging leaders. Get ready for unparalleled insight into the development of a world-class architecture firm and a worldwide organization driving the digital transformation of the design and construction industry. With Build Smart, the podcast that's changing how our profession operates. We share the incredible stories behind innovation in the building industry with my friend and co-host, Patrick McLeamy, FAIA, former CEO of the international architecture firm, HOK.
You know, Yamasaki's office or firm lasted during his lifetime. And when he passed away, I think that was the end of the Yamasaki office. Helmut did not want that. He wanted a firm that would live out and grow beyond the founders.
In Season 1, discover the untold stories behind HOK's meteoric rise, from 150 employees in St. Louis to a powerhouse with over 1,900 staff members and 27 offices worldwide.
You know, they weren't as polite as the Kojima people. That was just boom. And anytime you have a creditor, whether it's Kojima or the bank, that wants their money, unless you can raise money someplace else, you are out of business.
Bankrupt. And hold on tight for Season 2, where Patrick takes us on a new adventure as chairman of Building Smart International, shaping the future of digital transformation in the design, construction, and operation of built assets.
Ian Howell, Ken Harold, and I, Ken was my technical representative from HOK. The three of us took a tour of Europe of 5 cities in 5 days. Very busy time.
Simply follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Smart now and uncover lessons that will transform you and your architecture firm. Hey, architecture firm owners and emerging leaders. Get ready for unparalleled insight into the development of a world-class architecture firm and a worldwide organization driving the digital transformation of the design and construction industry. With Build Smart, the podcast that's changing how our profession operates. We share the incredible stories behind innovation in the building industry with my friend and co-host, Patrick McLeamy, FAIA, former CEO of the international architecture firm, HOK.
You know, Yamasaki's office or firm lasted during his lifetime. And when he passed away, I think that was the end of the Yamasaki office. Helmut did not want that. He wanted a firm that would live out and grow beyond the founders.
In Season 1, discover the untold stories behind HOK's meteoric rise, from 150 employees in St. Louis to a powerhouse with over 1,900 staff members and 27 offices worldwide.
You know, they weren't as polite as the Kojima people. That was just boom. And anytime you have a creditor, whether it's Kojima or the bank, that wants their money, unless you can raise money someplace else, you are out of business.
Bankrupt. And hold on tight for Season 2, where Patrick takes us on a new adventure as chairman of Building Smart International, shaping the future of digital transformation in the design, construction, and operation of built assets.
Ian Howell, Ken Harold, and I, Ken was my technical representative from HOK. The three of us took a tour of Europe of 5 cities in 5 days. Very busy time.
Simply follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Smart now and uncover lessons that will transform you and your architecture firm. My name is Mark R. LePage, and you are listening to Entree Architect Podcast, where each week I speak with inspiring, passionate people who share their knowledge and expertise, all to help you build a better business as a small firm entrepreneur architect. Jennifer and Dave Cooper, welcome to Entree Architect Podcast.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Oh, I'm excited about this episode because I've been following you on YouTube for a while now. And I'm watching this empire being built, and I want to know all about it. And so I'm really, really excited to have you on the show here. Let me introduce you to anybody who may not know who you are. Jennifer and Dave Cooper are home builders. Well, they were home builders. Today they're vloggers, and they believe in the power of personal brand. They started creating video content to showcase the value of modular construction. And over time, it's connected with the industry. They connected with industry leaders, changing the way that we build new homes, specifically offsite construction. These conversations inspired them to create a video series called Offsite Construction, hashtag Offsite Construction. Hashtag Offsite Construction with Dave Cooper is an editorial and educational series for innovators and about innovation in the ecosystem of the built environment. It's a behind-the-scenes conversation with builders and bankers and business owners, all around smart people improving the way we build. At their website, davecooper.live, Dave is harnessing the power of video to share your story, connect with others, and grow your business in the built environment. And I discovered Dave through his fantastic YouTube channel. So if you want to go check that out, go like and subscribe and ring the notification bell, youtube.com/davecooperlive. You should definitely go check that out and subscribe. They're going live all the time. Every time I turn on YouTube, there's a notification. Dave Cooper is live.
We are live.
And so I want to talk about that. I want to also talk about why live and not pre-recorded and all of that. So before I jump into that, I want to know your origin story. I want to know your background. Where did you discover your passion for construction? What's that story? How did you get into construction? And then what led you into, building a personal brand and online video?
Well, I can tell you what led us into construction, and then I'll let Jennifer do the rest of the talking for the show, because she's definitely gonna spin it in a different way than I can. But for us, I grew up in construction. I grew up framing and working on houses, and just like every young person, I said, there is not a chance in the world I'm going to do this for a living. Getting up at 4:30 a.m. to be on the job site at 7 and all these other things. So
was your dad was a builder?
No, I was working with uncles, relatives, friends, a family outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is where we grew up. So long story short, I joined the military instead when I got out of high school. When I got out of the military almost 10 years later, I was hired by Johnson & Johnson, and I was doing spinal implant training for neuro and orthopedic spine doctors with J&J, in the operating room, running cadaver labs, all that gross fun stuff. And then September 11th hit. Right. And I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing. And when September 11th hit, it was kind of an eye opener for me personally. I was at the trade centers. I was a rescue worker at the trade centers for the first 4 or 5 days that it happened. And I just kind of had that moment where, life is short. I need to, go and do something that I like to really, really do. And I started flipping homes. Next thing you know, I decided to put on my big boy pants, and I found a lot, and I was going to build my first spec house. Ended up next to me, a guy named Ron C. Schultz did a modular home, and he was done, sold, people living in it. And I wasn't even done with my sheetrock yet. And that was kind of my eye opener. I said, finally, hey, that's it, man. I'm going to check into this. I ended up working for him for free for about 6 months, just in between when I was doing surgeries and things like that with J&J. Sat in a barber chair in Hoboken, New Jersey, which I'm sure you're familiar with that area. And the barber that was there, Nick Brando, he was the mayor of South Hackensack at the time as well. He was my first customer. He goes, I'm going to think about building. I'm going to build modular. And that's how the journey started for us, getting into the home building space. And from there, it just went on.
So once it's in your blood, you can't escape it. The construction bug bit you when you were a child, working with with your family, and then it found its way back. Yeah,
it really did. It found its way back to us, and it's like anything else. You don't know what you know until you know it, and that was kind of one of the things. You got to sweep the floors before you can run the business and do the things one needs to do. So. I was kind of, in my mind, shocked that we went back to doing it, in some aspects. But what I really found is, I truly loved doing it. I hated it as a kid just because nobody likes early mornings when you're a teenager, right? Because you're up all night. But the passion for it and doing it with modular just made all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And so right from the beginning, once you discovered modular, no looking back. Yeah, no,
there was no looking back. Everything was, the way it was built, it was stronger, it was faster, it was definitely the quality of what was happening and the speed of that it was happening really just got me excited. Like until you go to a modular manufacturing facility, you don't get it. You think mobile home, you think trailer, but once you show up there and you see the precision and what they're building and how they're building it, that made all the difference in the world for me. And there was definitely no turning back, especially when you see the clients and how happy they are and you're on time and on budget. That doesn't happen much.
Right. So how long did you build? Because you're not building now. When did you start that? And when did you sort of transition?
Yeah, that was right after September 11th. So, I mean, total years of modular construction, we're pushing almost 20 years. 20 years, about 1,600 projects later.
And then so how did the whole YouTube video documentation thing start?
Yeah, great question. A lot of people ask that, and it's funny. It started very small, very granular, if you will. We were builders, and obviously every builder wants their project and product on the cover of a magazine, right? On, winning awards, all of that good stuff. But we took a slightly different approach. We were with a team of people who were building in New England along, Rhode Island, Connecticut, the islands, Block Island, Fisher's Island. And what was happening is, like anywhere else, there was a lot of misinformation out there. There was a lot of misunderstanding around the product and the process. And what we discovered was there were two camps of people who walked in our door and were immediately sold, like they already understood offsite construction and modular construction, and there were no barriers to entry there. But there were a lot of other folks who came to us who had an uncle or a dad or a brother in the traditional on-site construction trades, who were very hesitant and very reluctant to really learn more and understand how and why offsite construction could be a better way, a better process. So we started shooting self-shot video. Really, Dave was encouraged by our marketing team. Angel, who has been a dear friend for a long time, said, you really need to get into video. And we started just, 10 second, 30 second, 50-second spots where Dave would go live on Facebook, because that was the platform of choice back then, and connect with clients. And what was happening was there was this immediate response, because at the time, video was really driving Google results. So if anybody was looking for information on modular construction from an SEO perspective, video ranks. And it was done with a cell phone, handheld, no audio devices, and people really liked it. They learned a lot from it. And Dave tells the story best, but people would walk in and say things like, "Oh my gosh, I've watched all of your videos.
Yeah.
I've seen everything that you've published," and they would start recounting episodes to Dave, and then all of a sudden they became the salesperson.
Yeah, for us, Mark, it's funny. I talk about this at the International Builders Show for the last couple of years, and really try and help people understand the value of video and leading up to this as a business, whether you're an architect, whether you're a builder. It doesn't matter what you are, but, Google owns YouTube. Google's the number one search engine. YouTube's the number two search engine, right? So if you're not doing video, you're already losing as a company or a business, in my opinion. And like Jen said, what happened was we just started doing these videos a couple times a week. Oh, look at my dovetail cabinets. I was the Bob Vila of modular homes, I like to say. And Jen's right. People all of a sudden started walking in the door, and it's a very weird feeling, because they're going, "Hey, you were that guy on YouTube. My wife is this, love that house with the white subway tile and the backsplash, . All of a sudden, I was on the third meeting with them during the sales cycle. They were selling us our product back. And
Yeah.
The reason we do it live and unscripted is reality TV is big for a reason. People are tired of the canned messages. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to say the wrong thing. It's okay, as long as you're putting it out there and trying, you'd be very surprised. So, I mean, for the listeners that you have out there in value, there is so much value. I mean, it took our business from walking to running in a matter of months. And it's not an overnight thing. You got to consistently do it. But that really was what started changing it. And as we started doing this, in the videos, we started getting invited to other events. And as we went to these other events to speak, like the International Builder Show, Housing Innovation Alliance, and all, some of these other areas where we were invited to attend as well, Jennifer said, she goes, why don't you start interviewing people? So same thing I was doing with the home building. We started pulling out the camera and just talking to people about it, because we were doing modular when it wasn't cool, right? It's offsite's becoming cooler now, right? It's the end thing. There's no skilled labor, so the world has to change, to meet demand and to put out a quality product. But we were doing it when it wasn't cool, and it got to a point where we started going to these shows, and people were really inquiring, and not just regular people. We're talking, VPs of some of the largest home builders out there, wanting to understand the process, trying to figure it out. So that's how we ended up started doing the interview, and it just caught on. People really wanted to tell their story, and they really wanted to learn about something that we know very, very well, and not just modular. We know offsite in all of its forms in a big way these days. It's a cool thing.
So when did you start the video? When was that inspiration to pull out the iPhone and start recording?
It's got to be 8 years ago.
No,
7 years.
Yeah, no, it was probably within the last 4 years. So it hasn't really been that long. And like Dave said,
You mean the interview parts, not the home building, like the YouTube. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. It feels like time's flying by. Maybe it is only 6
Time
years.
is flying by, Dave. That's for sure.
Yeah, it really is flying. But either way, I mean, everyone can Snopes us on our YouTube channel and figure out when we first started recording. But the long and the short of it is, these conversations and what we were doing really prepared us for the world that we live in today. So we're super excited to have been able to share, a lot of our journey with others via video, and now we do it close to 6 days a week.
Yeah, and it's full time now, right?
It is full time. Yep. We're in the process of our road show, so we're coming to you live from our motorhome here. But we're traveling the country, and we're showcasing, what people are doing out there from an innovation standpoint, new building practices, architects embracing, green, LEED, passive house, embracing offsite construction, because we got to continue to share this knowledge. There's nothing out there that does it right now. I mean, even for architects, which I know is a big part of your audience, like, where do they get training on offsite? How do you know how to design DFMA, design for manufacturer assembly? Where do you learn these things? And our goal is to really connect all the dots for people and help them find those resources and share their story on what they're doing.
Yeah, it's very well done. I learn a lot watching your videos, and it is entertaining. I love that it is live, and they're all recorded as well. As you go live, you watch them live, but then if you wanted to go watch them later, they're on YouTube.
Yeah,
as a recorded version of it. When you first started doing the video and you realized that this was something that worked, right? You walked into those meetings and those clients would recognize you and they would feel like they knew you, right? I get that too. I originally got that through blogging. Today I get that through podcasting. I'd be at a conference at the AIA convention or something, and someone would hear my voice,
right?
And they wouldn't know what I'd look like, but they heard my voice and they would know it was me. And they would start talking to me like they would know me forever.
Right.
It's a really interesting effect. And with clients, when you're working with clients, that is such a great thing to have that happen, where you walk in and they know you, right? Because the whole sales process of building rapport and getting to know one another and having them trust you, that's done. You've done that work in the content that you've created, and so you're so much further along. For people who are thinking about using video and they are concerned that, they don't have the face for the video, or they don't have the right voice, or they're scared, or they hate the way they sound. Do you have any advice for them to get started?
Absolutely. One thing that we teach to everybody, and there's a lot of people who say this, it's not unique to us, but the first bit of advice we would give is do it scared. Just do it scared. It's okay. When you were young, you first, whether it was learning how to swim or riding a bicycle or eating sushi, or drinking whiskey, the first.
Why you look at me when you say whiskey?
The first time you tried it, it probably wasn't spectacular. But what happens over time with practice is you become more comfortable in your own skin. And what you're trying to do is share a message and share a story and be very real in your message. And as long as you're in your lane, as long as you're speaking, from what you believe and what you're trying to share, it will come across with sincerity and conviction. And that's where you want to start. We're all nervous, right? Remember the first Zoom call? You probably didn't have your camera on,
Right.
You're probably, hiding under the covers, but now we're all champs at it, right? So now we're all much more used to seeing our faces on video and seeing others on video. So we would just say, just do it. Take that first step, whatever it might be, whatever thought you're noodling on, or whatever your value proposition is as a person and a business. Start there, share that message, and then everything just kind of blossoms from that point.
Yeah.
So do it scared. Do it anyway.
My hands are
right?
sweaty right now. I still get nervous, and Jen's right. It's we say it all the time. Do it scared. Out of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos we have done over the years, very few times, I can't even really remember anywhere anybody said anything really negative or like they don't. And I think that's what most people are scared of, right? Putting it out there. I have a face for radio too. It's just the way it goes. But again, look what's out there. We got the Kardashians, we got all these things happening in the world that's reality and live. And when people walk in your door to meet you like a client, they're getting the real you. This is a way to meet them on their time when they're ready, because listen, as architects and builders and developers, we're not a destination. We're not Disney World. People only want us when they need something, period. They don't care to follow us. Maybe they get into it and want to follow us, but they have a project, they want it done. We want to all try not to get eliminated. That's what we're doing. How do you not get eliminated? And they go to the next person, and video helps you to not get eliminated, because they get to know you before that next person, because that next person, guess what, is not doing it. And most people don't know this. It may be wrong stats. Only 9% of small businesses are utilizing YouTube. And this may be a year or two old, so it could have grown since then. And only 9% of small businesses are using YouTube. But I can't remember what the stat was, but it's 1 out of every 3 people out there are going to YouTube to do their research. So think about
video
that.
Is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it is, and it's so, and in architecture and construction, we're always laggards, especially architects, right? So we are behind everybody else. So yes, other industries have been doing video for a long time. They're very polished. They know, the whole, it doesn't matter. Do it anyway. You're early. If you jump on it now, you're early. You'll be one of the only architects that are doing this if you do it.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely something worth pursuing. Let's take a break to thank our sponsors for their support of this episode. BIM can be important for your next project, but it's not the only thing you need for your next project. That's why it's important that 95% of manufacturers who offer free BIM files on ARCAT also offer another type of data or information that your project may need. That means 95% of the products with BIM also have CAD files, are in a specification, in a patented spec wizard, or may have product information to help you make the right selection. So stop going to a site with just BIM and go to arcat.com to get everything you need for your next project for free and without registering. No cost, no credit card, no email. It's free. That's arcat.com, ARCAT.com. When building a business you're passionate about, it's easy to feel like there aren't enough hours in the day. And if you're doing all the invoicing and accounting on your own, you're probably spending time on work you don't love. FreshBooks is built for business owners like us. It's the all-in-one accounting software that saves entrepreneurs and freelancers up to 11 hours a week. That's 11 hours that you could spend nailing a client pitch, designing your next project, or building your business as an architect. From preparing, sending, and following up on invoices, to tracking and managing expenses, to processing online payments, FreshBooks automates and simplifies all the tough and annoying parts of running your own business. So try FreshBooks for free for 30 days. No credit card required. Go to entrearchitect.com/freshbooks and enter EntreArchitect in the How Did You Hear About Us section and get more time back to build the business you love. That's entrearchitect.com/freshbooks. Please visit our platform sponsors today and thank them for supporting you, the EntreArchitect community. Jen or Dave, what was the moment that you realized that this was something that you could do full time? That this was something that you not only could do full time, but you realized that this was your purpose, that this was your passion, that this is what you wanted to do for the rest of your life?
Well,
I think we're still trying to figure that out. No,
I think that,
well, that's a totally legitimate answer.
Yeah, here's what we would say, and we have young kids, and here's what we try to teach them as well, is that nothing is forever in life, that the only constant to count on is the constant of change and evolution. And at this moment in time, this is where we are, and this is what we've chosen to do, mostly because of what has happened globally. Just over a year ago, the world came to a screeching halt. Trade shows, stopped. Meetings in person stopped. And Dave literally woke up pretty much after the pandemic hit and said, we need to put our foot on the gas here. This is our chance to keep this community going, because we felt like we were just starting to create a community. We were just starting to create this national network of people that we had met through the trade shows and everything else. So what happened was Dave said, no way, we need to do this for us. We need to do this for other people, because travel completely stopped. And he woke up and said, we are going to go live 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, when you say we, is that like the royal we, like you?
Yeah, that I've had a few foot and mouth moments, but yeah, we did. That's what we said. And we are literally, we just finished 6 days a week on 5 of the 6 shows. And we have another week and a half for our BS Friday show. I guess 2 more weeks, 2 more episodes, and then that's the full year. So we did a full year, 6 days a week. We never missed a single day of those 6 days a week for a full year, to include Thanksgiving, holidays, Christmas, anything else that fell on it. And it was funny. It actually was a fun road. The conversation was fun. It's stressful trying to find internet when you're on the road and saying, I got to be live in 5 minutes, or 10 minutes. But it really opened our eyes to what the possibilities are to collaborate and have discussions with not only people in our industry here in the United States, but we have such a huge global audience now, and the conversations, it's funny, they're all kind of similar and intertwined. Yep. We're not the only ones sitting here trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I found that was one of the biggest surprises for me as EntreArchitect grew, is how similar architects are throughout the entire world.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter where you're from. You can be from Korea, Nigeria, France, Canada, Australia. We are all dealing with the same problems, and celebrating all the same, challenges overcome.
Yeah.
And so it's a much smaller world than we think. Can you talk a little bit about the power of consistency?
Absolutely. I mean, that is the one thing that we hear all the time is that consistency does matter, whatever it might be, like whatever your journey is, and again, I go back, oftentimes I reference kids because you don't have an option when it comes to kids. Like you have to consistently feed them. You have to
That's right.
consistently make sure that, they're on time for school and things of that nature. But, and Dave, with his military background, it's all about consistency and timeliness, and all of that. So, when you think about the world's expectations, when you set a goal, whatever that goal might be, whether it's exercise or eating healthy or, learning a new topic, it's about those 5-minute increments of time. And, we had a really excellent show with Scott Carson, the note closer, who, his theory was 5 minutes a day, right? Or no, 5% more a day.
5% more a day.
Right? Every day, just give 5% more than you gave the day before. Use these as building blocks. And over time, you're 100% better than you were, when you look back. So it is all about consistency. And listen, we're not recommending anybody follow the path that we might have chosen. We welcome people to, of course, but whatever you decide, just be consistent, show up, just show up when you say you're going to show up, and be there for others. Because what happens is, and this does happen when we're late or, we're having streaming issues, people are texting us saying, hey,
where are you? Are you going live today? And we're like, oh my God, we're trying.
Not that we have this, fan base or anything, but everybody that we enjoy sharing stories. We enjoy sharing how people are doing things differently or how they're improving their process. And when it comes to a certain topic, others look forward to that. So be there for them. If you say you're going to do it, just do it.
Yeah, people expect you to be there after a while. It's like the expectation starts to grow, Mark, just like I'm sure with the podcast and everything else, right? It's they get used to tuning in, and they may not watch the whole show, but we have so many people that just put it on in the background and listen. We have the immediate past chairman, who is still the chair right now of NAHB, join us and on our show once a month. And it's amazing because this is somebody who updates the president a couple times a year on housing and works with Secretary of Housing and all that. And I'm almost willing to guess that our show is on his office because he comments, quite often. So people just sometimes listen in the background because you can get a tidbit just like from the podcast, of something that you might be able to use.
Yeah. And that community or that audience becomes a community.
Yeah.
And becomes people who know and like and trust you. And when you don't show up, they worry about you.
Right.
It's not even about, where's my content? It's like, are you guys okay?
Yeah.
Right. Because you're not where you usually are.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a really interesting experience. Have there been any big surprises, either good or bad, as you've grown the platform?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the biggest surprise is just how amazing this world really is. There are so many people willing to share their information, and there are so many people who care about what they're doing. I think the biggest surprise, like you said, was how like-minded and similar our issues are globally. There might be a different language or name for it, but they're very similar. And I think what this journey has taught us also is, the value of what is important, and we think about, what is the legacy and what are we going to do for the next generation of building professionals to really get them excited and help them enter this space. And I think that has been resoundingly something that everybody can agree on. Like we all have our verticals, we all have our, our businesses that we're in, we talk about the ecosystem of the built environment. We all have our industries within that. But essentially what we need to do is improve our process and improve the way we do things so that next generation wants to join, that we're not pulling them here, we're attracting them here. And that's been a really terrific surprise, just how so many people are working toward that, and how our show and our platform has helped connect the dots for a lot of people who didn't realize the cool factor that's out there. You know, the cool designs that architects are working on, the cool methods of construction, the construction technology, you know, laser scanning and 3D printing and
digital twins, BIM, right? Virtual reality. I love it. You're right.
AI.
So much.
You know, we just did a show on AI and Passive House, how those two things come together. And so the surprise for us is how we did this just for our peer group, but now it's filtering down into the students and into people who are trying to figure out what's the next step for me.
Yeah.
And hopefully we're inspiring some folks, you know, looking for what career to jump into or get involved with. Hopefully we're inspiring some of them to consider the built environment, and come join us.
Yeah, we can't be in last place anymore, Mark. As an industry, we're in last place when it comes to innovation and technology. We spend more time in our houses than we do in Teslas, right? So why are we so far behind? It doesn't make sense anymore for us. And obviously it's proving that it doesn't make sense because we're not getting the skilled labor into our industry. But with that, has, like Jen said, all of this new technology is coming about, right? From blockchain technology. I'm losing my mind here on some of the things. Give me 1 second. What's our ArcStar?
Oh yeah, generative
design, parametric design. I couldn't get my thoughts yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing stuff. And, you know, one of the things that really came out of this, I think was the biggest surprise, is that, you know, we've been asked to live stream our show into, you know, about 50 plus of the universities across this country. And a lot of them are making our show part of their classroom work to look at innovation, look at what's happening, and having the students join to get them excited, because man, the stuff's cool. These students have been building in virtual reality forever, right?
Yeah,
I don't care who you are, what BIM software you're using. They already have a speed on the knowledge and how to really bring it together. You know, imagine if we get those minds in our industry. That's cool stuff. There's no reason for this. And I'll give you my architect thing in the offsite world. Maybe I shouldn't, but I will.
Do it.
Field verify should not exist any longer. Think about the greatest offsite construction builders in the world are NASA. Could you imagine if the astronauts got to the space station to build a new thing and it said field verify? It's not needed anymore because the technology's there. If you're not using that technology, well, then you still got to use the words field verify. But, you know, we're seeing all these architects and builders build these huge projects with zero change orders because of the technology. That's, you know, on some of these multi-million-dollar projects, that's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of contingency money that the owner, the consumer, whoever's hiring the developer, they don't have to spend. And this is what's really cool.
Sometimes over $1 million in punch list.
That's right. Yeah. So that's kind of, I guess, the surprising stuff. It's cool, man.
Yeah, it is very cool. So what's the future? What's the future for Dave Cooper Live? What's the next step?
Yeah. You want to go or you want me to go? We've been alternating turns, you know, so we try and be polite to each other because we both could go on.
Yeah, no, I mean,
you're living in a camper, so that's good. That's good.
100 square feet.
I think no matter what, the future always includes, you know, the educational component and sharing what's happening out there with others, you know, who are trying to learn. You know, and whether they're getting into the traditional skilled trades, which, you know, is such a highly valued thing. And we're proud of everybody who wants to get in this environment. But I think what's next is really just continuing the path of building a community and bridging the gaps and bringing people together and, you know, talking the same language. And language is a hot topic in our space, as I'm sure it might be in yours as well, but like, who are we? What do we call ourselves? And more importantly, what are the products that we're building? How are we building these products? How are we regulating these products? Especially now there's an international marketplace for them. You know, we have volumetric modulars coming in overseas. You know, how do we regulate that? So I think what's next for us is that educational path, learning more, teaching others what we know, you know, trying to build that community, and celebrating that community, hopefully in person one of these days.
Yeah. But you know what, it's true. And the defining this, because the code books really don't speak to the future yet. They speak to 10 years ago in some states or what have you. So as offsite construction or new technology is coming into play, how does one know how to design into that, whether it's from here in the States or from an international perspective? Because Jen's right, there is a ton of projects coming in from all over the world, modular, panelized, flat pack, all of these different offsite technologies. But the code doesn't allow for it. And we all know when we leave it up for interpretation with the local building department, what happens, right? The headaches begin, the change orders begin, the money starts to flow out of our pocket. So we're real big on having this conversation of how do we define what our industry is, what are the codes, what are the building standards, and that's a big thing. And we're hoping that our partnership with student chapters and the universities and what we're doing helps drive that conversation from an educational standpoint. Even with the AIA, I know we've been meeting to have conversations with the Architects Institute, because for us, we have to make a living and we need people supporting us and doing things, but we're also very cautious not to get in bed, as I say, with the devil. And you know what I mean? So we don't want to be owned. We want to have a true conversation. That's what's made us successful so far in the educational route, and having the support of these educational organizations or companies that believe in the education side of things is really, I think, where we're headed and trying to kind of frame what's going on and continue that conversation.
Very exciting. Sounds very exciting. Right now, we're talking to thousands of architects, mostly small firm architects. What is one thing that you would say that a small firm architect can do today to build a better business for tomorrow?
Yeah, the one thing that we would strongly encourage them is to keep an open mind, learn, what is out there and what might be coming down the pipeline. Because, you mentioned it earlier, getting into video now keeps you ahead of the curve, right? You're still ahead of so many others who are not. What we would recommend to architects is, and this is something that Dave and I talk about all the time, we're very passionate about this, is architects are the tip of the spear as it relates to offsite construction and industrialized construction, modern methods of construction, whatever you might want to call it. But we advocate often to get designers and architects in the process early. Because nobody wants to do anything twice, right? If you're designing something for a traditionally site-built structure, and then the owners come and say, well, no, we want to consider offsite. We just strongly recommend that people keep their minds open, that they, consider getting into the space of offsite construction. We've had architects come to us and say, how do we get into the space of offsite? There's no traditional route, right? It's not something that is taught across colleges and universities across this nation. That's starting to change, and we're really excited about that. But there are amazing architects already in this space, with, plant prefab out in California,
Base 4.
Steve Glenn doing amazing jobs, Base 4, Sarah Logan with Volumetric. There are so many amazing architects already in the space. Just network.
Yeah, reach out, collaboration, right? Because they'll help you on your projects, especially if they're already tied into the offsite industry and you're interested in doing it. I know a lot of us have that competitive nature about architects, doctors had it when I was doing spinal implants, which you think is crazy. Why would you compete? But the reality of it is you'll find that the community is very open to helping. Because listen, we're only 3-4% of the entire industry right now. Now that's growing fast at the moment, but there's only one way to go, and that's up. And if somebody says they have the secret sauce, well, we wouldn't only be 3 or 4% of this industry. So send them my way. Let me have a chat with them, because, the reality of it is we need to collaborate. And Jen's right. Architects are the spear of this, because they're not just structural engineers, and they're thinking aesthetically as well as structurally. And that's what the industry needs. They need that artistic aesthetic look as well as that structural component. to make it, especially in the United States, because nobody ever wants the same thing, for the most part, unless it's a developer doing a subdivision. So I agree with you 100%, Jennifer. See, we agree on something.
Very good advice. Jennifer and Dave Cooper are their names. DaveCooper.live is their website. Go check out DaveCooper.live. It's a great, beautifully designed website. Very well developed and well functioning. When you go there, you find what you're looking for. The YouTube channel, youtube.com/DaveCooperLive. Go subscribe right now. Click the little bell so you won't miss any live episodes. Jennifer and Dave, this is really a fantastic conversation. I really enjoyed learning more about you, each of you, and what's happening over at Dave Cooper Live. Dave, I want to just take a minute here to say thank you for everything that you do with Dave Cooper Live, but also for your service in the military, also for your service during 9/11. We do what we do because of guys like you who do what you did. So thank you very much for serving, and thank you for everything that you've done for the community. And thanks for being here and sharing, both of you, for sharing your knowledge here at Entre Architect Podcast.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And I know Dave is very appreciative of all those compliments. And thank you for inviting us into your community. We certainly value the space that you're in and the community that you have built, and strongly encourage anyone, please reach out. Open book here, and happy to help. And thank you for inviting us today.
Yeah, this has been awesome.
You're very, very welcome. The Entre Architect community is a very, very collaborative, sharing community. Small firm architects, our community within the small firm world is very much a sharing community. So we're looking forward to collaborating, and looking forward to talking with you next time.
Outstanding.
Thanks so much for having us.
If you liked this episode of Entre Architect Podcast, please share a rating, write a review, and share a link to this episode with a friend. That's how you could help grow Entre Architect Podcast. Thank you to our sponsors, ArtCat and FreshBooks, for their support of this episode. Links to all our sponsors and all our resources that we discussed today are available at the show notes for this episode, found at entrearchitect.com/podcast. Entre Architect is a member of the Gable Media Podcast Network. Gable Media is curated thought leadership for an audience dedicated to building a better world. That's you. Listen and subscribe to all the shows at gablemedia.com. That's GABLmedia.com. Go there now. And check out Entre Architect Academy membership. Ready to edit business resources for architects, live monthly business training for architects, a supportive architect community, and simple systems. Our new business system program developed for you, the small firm entrepreneur architect. It's all waiting for you right now at Entre Architect Academy membership, including AIA continuing education learning units. Yep, they are there too. Entre Architect is there for you. Come join me and hundreds of your entrepreneur architect friends. Visit entrearchitect.com/join to enroll today. Thanks for listening today. Love, learn, and share what you know.
Imagine earning continuing education credits while doing exactly what you're doing right now. Well, you can. Gable Media has revolutionized the way you earn your continuing education credits with a groundbreaking approach. Forget running around town and scouring the internet for credit-worthy courses. Fulfill your CE requirements effortlessly by listening to engaging podcasts just like the one you're listening to now. Our podcasts are designed to educate, entertain, and inspire, all in a user-friendly environment. But wait, there's more. Architects, Gable Media is also approved as an AIA continuing education services provider. Upon completion, we handle everything, from reporting your hours directly to the AIA to storing your certificates in your personal Gable Media profile for your self-reporting needs. So follow the link in the show notes and start earning your credits in the most innovative and entertaining way possible with Gable Media.
Attention architects and creative minds. Get ready to supercharge your brand with Build Your Brand, the podcast that's unlocking the secrets of branding success for creatives. Hey there, it's Mark Arlepage, founder of Entre Architect, and I'm inviting you to join my friend, architect marketing expert Jeff Eccles at Build Your Brand podcast, where he explores the captivating stories of the world's top brands and transforms their lessons into powerful moves for small firm architects and creatives like you. In Season 1, Jeff shares the thrilling tale of Southwest Airlines, where he dissects their journey to the summit and distills it into strategies tailor-made for you.
It's important to keep in mind that companies like Southwest compete in the real world, just like you, and face real-world challenges, just like you. You might be surprised at how similar those challenges are to the struggles that you grapple with on a day-to-day basis.
Don't miss out on your blueprint for success. Subscribe, tune in, and let's build your brand together.
You may have noticed that the very best brands in the world are also known for having somewhat unique corporate cultures. That's often the glue that holds everything together when they encounter those rough spots.
We don't do it because it inconveniences the passengers to whom we are primarily dedicated, the short haul, frequent flyer.
Follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Your Brand today. Remember, no matter the size, the journey's the same. Your brand's journey to the top starts here.